What?
Was that? Will that be the transition? There you go.
That the ending?
That was the transition, and now here's the new episode. Oh wait, yeah, it's your turn to do that. I'm still annoyed. I was so close. Those people were almost alive. I hope their kids at least know that I was that close. I'm sorry your parents are dead, but I mean, really, I was with a couple more seconds. I could have done
almost had parents. Good job. You almost weren't an orphan.
Oh man.
Good for you too. You're an orphan.
Well, see, here's the thing. You could maybe you want to try this. If you explored the rest of the complex, you could probably find the code for it and not have to
before they die of tear gas.
Well, no, because you walk into the room, which triggers the bomb, but I think it's got like a 30 seconds or something. So if you had the code, if you had found it somewhere else in one of the computers, which I'm sure are around,
well, now
you could probably just walk in and deactivate it. No, we saved before that.
I was saying everyone's dead, meaning
no.
If I went around the computers, everyone would be dead.
Well, I actually don't know. I think there does come a point, even in this mission, when it happens, regardless of where you are. So I guess that's the risk. You could either say, we found them, so let's fix it now, or see how long we can spend looking for a computer, but that may or may not be close. Because I could probably do it again, now that I know the right route. I could probably hack it correctly without wasting time. But I don't know. I doubt it's in this room. They weren't. I don't think they would have rewarded you that. There's a turn around again. We came in from this side. There's a door behind the other corridor.
What door behind which one?
That way. That red door. I don't know what's down there. I just know that there's other things. So we could try that.
Oh.
It helps when you go through the doors. Oh, cameras. Get behind the thing.
Who cares about cameras?
Well, I think the people monitoring them kind of care. You just shot the camera.
At this point, I'm just going...
Well, this is not the game where guns blazing works. Give me that. I'm not... No, well, you don't get another turn for that. That was a conscious choice.
So, okay.
Mountain Dew Spark, by the way.
Last episode, I seriously have no idea where we're going to end and where we're going to pick up.
No, I think we're going to end it just there.
Where? This
is the ad break for Mountain Dew Spark. I picked some up, and it's interesting.
That was the best ad campaign I've ever heard.
Hey, if YouTube ads were like that, I'd actually sit through them.
The reason I say interesting is a great word is because it doesn't reveal anything about the product. It
tastes good. That's all you need to know.
But see, that's more than what you just said.
Hey, it's genuine.
Interesting could be trash.
It's genuine. Because here's the thing. What bothers me is there's this new wave of YouTube thing where it's now, instead of just ads being put before the video, which was annoying, but you could potentially skip them, they now have where the YouTube people themselves are putting ads in because they've been paid by it's like the whole, they reach out and say, hey, would you support our thing? We'll pay you.
Even Ben Shapiro does that.
Well, but they support the company. I mean, that's like when it's small YouTubers doing things like, I'm just going to go in there and say
Jiffy Pop?
Well, it's like, but the problem I have with them is it's like, okay, now at the beginning of this video, you spend the first, 3 minutes doing this ad thing because they gave you a script to read. It's like back in the days when they would force you to watch them, that was 30 seconds. It's like that was the longest an unskippable ad could be. Now it's 3 minutes in the video, which means I have to guess and skip ahead if I want to skip it.
Well, blame the YouTubers for that. Don't blame them.
Well, sure, but that's what bothers me is that it is always so scripted. If someone was like, hey, Mountain Dew Sparks, all right, give it a shot, I'd be like, maybe I will. But if you give me the script that every other person's listening to, I'll be like, screw you and Mountain Dew. I don't want it.
Seriously, folks, it's the best.
Seriously, folks, it's the best. Okay, we got some time.
No, what I was getting at was the wording, the verbiage, interesting, is nondescript enough. Well,
because I'm not saying it's good.
Is it exactly? You could try and go, he was right. It was interesting.
Come on. Okay, I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I screwed up.
Interestingly terrible.
Oh, come on. It's literally in the process. I did it. I saved your lives. I should cap someone.
Why would you do that? Why was that your first response?
Well, just to
speaking of Dostoevsky. I feel like killing somebody.
Just to make him wonder. To be like, hey, I saved all your lives.
I'm no hero. The question is, who would you cap?
Well, probably this guy sitting in the front. I imagine I'd just be sitting here being like, "Hey, I just saved you," and he just would have been the first.
Look at him looking at you. Really?
He's thinking,
really the black dude?
He's looking at me going, "You still gonna do it, huh?" Man, I don't want to go.
Oh, his name is Greg too.
Greg Thorpe. I
Greg.
can just tell by his mannerisms. He's going, "Oh, not today."
Not today, son.
Oh boy. Well, aren't you glad that you get to see your kids? I should put this away. How do I put the gun away? Not like that. There you go. Hi, I'm consoling. I have human feelings. My body's not been replaced with a computer.
Anyway.
What? Oh, wow. She was remarkably prescient for a hostage.
What did you say?
She says, I know you don't want us running around till everything's secure. She's basically telling us to get back to the game. She's going, I know we shouldn't leave here until the rest of the place is secured, so we'll stay put. She's a sharp tack. I don't need this stuff. Why do I keep picking up? I keep picking up tranquilizer bullets for a thing I don't have.
So last episode we talked about Dostoevsky.
Yeah, in depth even.
Yeah. Sure.
I forgot I have a new gun.
If you're only using our video as your spark notes, you're gonna have a bad time.
Well, we said some stuff that happened.
Sure. You could tell your teacher that too.
Hey, I have a record of getting A's on reports I read for books I didn't read. It only happened once, but it did happen. So, I mean, if there's anyone you can trust.
So, if there's anything that
This is not how vents work. Vents do not open out onto beams.
If there's anything we can say about why you should watch this channel, it's that it
so
may
you
give
can write
an
reports
A.
on books you didn't read.
It may give you an A.
I don't recommend that. On a scholastic level, you should have
more respect for yourself.
Respect for yourself and your teachers and the material.
Well,
unless it's really terrible, in which case,
there are certain teachers I did not respect.
That's funny. Funnily enough, the book for which it happened was, of all things, 1984, which I have since read and since value having read. So it was really just because I was a crappy person. But there was another book. There was another book which I like skim read because I hated it. But I wrote the report and still did a decent enough job that I got a good grade. Although I read more of it, which was Red Badge of Courage, which is just garbage.
I'm actually not familiar with that one at all. What is that?
It's an American literature that's pretty well known.
Red Badge of Courage is written by who?
Oh boy, I forget the name. It's a Civil War book. It's about a guy in the Civil War. He fights for with some side.
I didn't like those types of books.
I don't know why.
No
it was
offense
just
to anybody
garbage.
that's fought. I mean, I'm not suggesting.
Hey, I've got ancestors.
I
got ancestors who fought the Civil War. I don't know which side. they were Midwesterners, so it could have gone either way. That's one thing. That's the one thing Ancestry.com does not advertise. Find out your family fought for the Confederacy. I'm suspicious because my ancestors fought for the Confederacy. Why am I suspicious? There must have been a camera I didn't see. Oh crap! The camera made me suspicious, and now people's are about. Are they moving? I see people on the cam. Look
at that
those
face.
Are those the? This
you can
face?
just tell he flies a Confederate flag.
He used to have it tattooed on his back before they gave him this permanent vest.
His permanent vest.
Yeah, he can't take that off.
He showers with that on.
Yeah, that's laundry day and shower day. All at once. Well, I've made a goof here because now there's cameras and people.
As well,
because the camera clearly caught me on film, so that's why it gave me the little suspicious marker, which means I guess someone saw it, so now they're looking for me. But now I'm kind of trapped here. Yeah, this is where I go.
Oh,
these things. That's one of the RPG. This is one of the RPG things.
Speak of the devil.
If I upgrade my arm beef points,
your arm beef,
I could lift boxes that are like this big, like these massive crates. As it is, I think I can only lift the regular size boxes because I could just like sneak down the hallway holding one in front of me.
First he was a man, then he was a cyborg man.
He was a box carrier man. I need to go that way, clearly.
And he was just a box.
That's what the cameras think, anyways. First there was a man, then he was a box man, then he was just a box. I need to go that way, though, because there's an X, and X marks the spot, don't you know?
But,
should I just shoot the
yeah,
camera?
so
I feel
you
like
should read
shooting
books.
I feel like shooting the camera. Well, thanks. Thanks, Captain America. What kind of public service announcement was that? Read
It was to these two.
You should read books. Then you wouldn't be militant creationists.
Creationists.
That's not even...
Next thing you know, you're a minion.
What? Minion? Purist, that's what I meant.
I wasn't talking about purists.
I was. I meant creationist wasn't what I meant to say.
Creationists.
Oh, boy.
It was the sperm that got you confused.
It was. Oh, boy. Anyways, do you have something to say about Walt Disney?
Well, I kind of said it briefly. I wasn't going to belabor it specifically, but I was just saying we give Disney a lot of crap, but honestly, Walt...
I never gave Walt crap. I gave the current Walt Disney Company crap.
So what... then the begs the question, because we've talked about this in brief. What went wrong?
Brief? I don't think it's been brief.
Well, I'm just saying what went wrong, because we've even said... Like, I remember you making the
Walt
comment
died.
off-screen that
you didn't
maybe...
even hear that, did you?
Yes, I did. That maybe we should have just left the company to die with the man. Which is
maybe.
I mean,
not
which is
sure.
a worthwhile thought.
They lasted a good while. I mean, he died in
Did
what?
they,
I think
though?
he died. I think in the late '60s or '70s. I mean, he died. He died young, if I recall.
Where am I going? There it is again. No.
We already saved. No. We already saved the people, right? You walked away. Did you save them? Did I save after I saved them?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'd say I guess.
Well, what if they didn't?
Well, that's
it's
what
like,
I want to.
well, forget your guys' fate.
No,
they're good.
We'll check the bomb at least. You just walk out of the room and then they gas themselves.
Oh!
Well, yeah, when you walk up to a woman with a gun drawn,
you collapse! I didn't mean to do that.
I like how that dude looked away right when you did that. He's like, oh, crap.
Oh, my gosh. Did she just pass out, I hope?
Well, I still think you should reload. Even if she's not dead, I don't think this will look good on the PR report. It looks here.
Shut up!
Says here.
Don't tell me to put my weapon away.
Says here he saved a bunch of hostages. He did sock a woman in the jaw.
So sorry.
We've offered her a $5,000 settlement so that she doesn't say anything. You should just reload.
Is there a way I can? How do I
you
put
reload.
this away?
That way, but I would recommend reloading at this point.
Can she wake up so I can apologize profusely?
I think at this point you should just reload.
What does that mean?
As in, go back to the most recent save, because all you've done between now and then is sock a woman.
How do I do that?
That's the funniest thing. I don't even know what prompted that.
Are you sure the autosave is going to actually be what we want?
Yeah, that was where we were. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Just shut up!
Please put your weapon away. I'm in charge here. Shut up, nurse. I know what's best. Good reference for you.
Oh dear. Okay.
So anyways.
But no, Walt, that was more of a sidebar.
Well, because I think
saying...
he died a long while before Disney went under, if you ask me. Because he died again, I think, he died before Disneyland was even finished.
Yeah. No.
Which was like the 60s, I think. So he was dead. I mean, to me, Walt, the company...
Oh, you know what? I did have actually
in my progression, I think Tangled was the last unqualified great Disney movie.
You can tell the code still knows I'm a jerk. Look at her. She's like, I'm not even going to look at him. Don't talk to him at all.
Don't say anything. Don't look at him. Just blink and smile. Blink and smile. See, there you go. And she's still smart.
Okay. Thank you. Have we repaired our relationship?
Up until they were making pretty reliably great movies up until Tangled. Tangled was great. And then I think after that it was just they lost it.
But I wasn't specifically wanting to get back on the soapbox.
But my point in bringing that up is Tangled was what, like 2012 or something like that?
It was working on.
So that was clearly there's bullets. What kind? Machine pistol. You need that. So I'm just saying. I think that came out It was in the early 2010s at the very least. Drink that. Just see what happens.
Well, I am a cyborg, so
won't hurt me. So that was what? That's like 30, 40 years. So clearly they had something that was keeping them going.
It's nothing. I guess I just would say food for thought. Nothing will
outlast you. Well, everything ends in dust.
And here's what my actual, because I had this discussion with somebody else recently, and I said, here's where I think the rub is. He named it directly after. That's not what I asked at all. What's wrong with you? Wow.
I can't breathe. I'm gonna pass out. I don't know why that struck me that funny.
It just popped out.
Well, it was just your reaction was like, it was like not what I. Oh, you're gonna get seen. You're gonna get seen. You've been seen. I don't know why that struck me as so funny. Just the way you reacted.
Well, it was a little out of the blue, but sure.
Well.
How do I'm struggling to scoot forward, and I'm not liking this mechanic.
You could probably have just ended that sentence after I'm struggling.
I'm struggling.
Whoa, 3 against 1. What have you done? You've angered someone. All 3 of those rhymed. I knew that the first 2 rhymed, and I didn't intend that, but then the third one rhymed as well. That was funny. Oh, boy. Oh, seriously, I feel lightheaded. Anyways, where's your rub?
Is that he named it after himself. And here's why I say that.
Why is that a problem?
I only say that because what happened was, now, as he's died, people attribute it to him still, directly. Whereas if the company itself is named after something else, it can actually, he can die and say, yeah, he was a champion and he was such a great guy, and then the company can be like, yeah, that's a trash company now.
Well, sure.
Like, for instance, great example, Steve Jobs. I don't think anybody directly says, like, because it's not Job Tech or some stupid... I'm just saying, I mean, it was rather on the nose, you know?
Well, but that's not... I don't know that that's exactly a fair criticism because, like,
he was able to
a lot of
appreciate
companies
it.
did that.
Sure, and he was able to appreciate that fame in his day, but at the same time,
but even then, it's like, wait, is Ford a problem? Is Chevy a problem? It's like all of these are based off of names. Almost everything is named after the person who started it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, the only thing I can think of that doesn't would be the tech companies like Microsoft and Qualcomm Apple and things.
Yeah.
But even then, like, I don't know if Samsung, maybe there's some, Japanese guy who did something important. His name was Samsung.
Wow.
Oh, that's terrible. I didn't mean it that way. It just came out like that. Am I going the right way? I'm going to go a different way.
Anyway, that was more of a sidebar. Is there any? Because I wasn't specifically.
Was it you? Are you done with that? You don't have anything else to say about it?
No, all I'm saying is when we looked at. So I was watching those kind of unpacking how he did the Jungle Book and how he approached Winnie the Pooh and stuff like that, and he would take classic literature, as we've obviously been talking about Dostoevsky.
Obviously, they're most famous for the fairy tales.
Yes, but I'm saying he would reframe them in a way that actually made sense to a modern audience.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, an art that's lost because even people that adapt books nowadays, they either completely bastardize the book from its author, or they take such a literal approach that it becomes just like, why do you need this? We could just read the book.
He's coming that way. Ah, dang it. Didn't do that. I don't know.
So I don't know. That's just my thoughts. There you go.
Okay. I mean, I think, yeah, obviously he wasn't the problem.
Yeah, I thought he was a great man.
I mean, I think he'd be quite sad at the way it is now. But then again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'd be like, "Yo, y'all are making loads of money."
Yeah, but see, he doesn't strike me as the type of person that was concerned about money as much
No,
as
I
he
don't
was
think
concerned
so.
about
But then again,
influence.
I didn't know him.
I suppose that's true.
Suspicious? Who's suspicious? Dang it, the camera saw me. I didn't think it would see me from there. I gotta wait for this guy to pass because that hallway doesn't have a camera in it. And he's gonna do his little shimmy shake. He's gonna go that way. I'm gonna go this way. Alarmed!
So
You tool bag!
We're gonna talk about some other stuff too, though.
Darn it, I don't want to have to shoot you.
Is there some other
I
interesting...
don't want to shoot you in the bonds, but I'm gonna. Okay. That's gonna have alarmed
ruined
everybody.
That perfect hairline of his.
Well, it needed it. Look the other way today. Okay, well, I got plenty of other stuff we could talk about. I don't know that I had any queued up.
Well,
I'll have a peruse since it's not my term anymore. As if I'm some sort of public official. Well, I mentioned in the last one that I might have thoughts about metal. Would you like to hear my metal thoughts?
Sure. He's created a new element.
Let's talk about this.
He's calling it barium.
Barium?
It's boron and something else. I don't know.
Well, why would you? I thought you were going to at least give me some credit.
What?
Like, I thought that was somehow you were going to be like, it means something.
Clever. It means something.
I call it, now I can't think of the word, darn it. My joke is ruined.
Mine was actually something.
My joke is ruined. I hope you're happy. What is it?
Thanks.
What's the thing we do all the time? Pontificatium.
Well, yeah.
Now put the gun away before you speak to anyone. Don't speak to her. She's been through enough.
Let's talk to this guy.
Why are they all holding their hands like that?
How'd they even get in here? No alarms went off or anything.
No alarms were set off for anything.
Well, that might be... Oh, there's your hard hat. You mentioned it. Now there it is.
Thank you, God. It's so...
That's quite a hard hat, too. He's the boss. He's like the foreman or something. He got the silver hard hat.
I guess what?
Maybe one little drink.
Well, that's what I thought, pal. Talked about giving up drinking. I was like, now's the time to drink, pal, not give it up.
Wow.
And he just confirmed my suspicions.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Maybe I'd have...
Well, maybe after the memorial.
Well, maybe I just got my life saved.
Someone's right there. There's a camera. Oh, this is the other hallway. Okay.
So can I shoot the camera?
Yes, I think that ultimately... Well, if you had a silenced gun, that might help, but I think that would just alert people. And then I think even then you would be, if a camera suddenly got shot, I think people would have questions. But my metal thoughts. We talked, well, I think the camera's going to see him. Camera's going to pan over and be like, dead body.
Took the camera out, too.
Well, but then there's, I
walk
guess...
up like a boss.
You could have at least gotten out a gun that could help you deal with this. A pistol's not the choice.
Okay. I thought that was a good approach, but then it all fell apart.
Well, but I think, again, if it was a silenced gun, that might have worked. But people hear 2 gunshots, they're going to come looking. Metal. We talked a while back about Unleash the Archers, who remain great. And evidently have a YouTube channel, which I didn't know about. Where they, do
just
stuff.
Random stuff?
Oh, yeah. They do Twitch streams and things. They're just cool people.
Huh.
So anyways, you check them out. But I meant to. We mentioned them, but I didn't actually discuss them. Orden Ogan, my previous favorite metal band, who now have been relegated to the 2nd place. Not to be rude. But I don't know. I used to like them as the favorite, and then Unleash the Archers kind of, I don't know. I think they're better. But I just wanted to bring them up because they do the same thing. as the whole idea of stories being their albums being one continuous story.
Yeah.
And I have discovered even another band that does that. So I guess we're on the same bandwagon. Literally, bandwagon. Beast in Black is the name, which is an odd one, I grant. But I have recently come across them, and they are another band that does that. So I guess it's all power metal would be the unifying theme.
I find that's more of a commonality, though, that whole, like, okay, the album itself has to kind of...
That was the worst possible time. Somehow I didn't see that. I literally walked out right as he came in. I'm gonna... how am I alarmed? He saw me after the fact. He walked away and went, hang on a second.
I think he could have been...
Hopefully he doesn't fall into the view of the camera. Boom! Just make sure he stays away from the camera. Can I have that? Okay, that went all right. Well, that is, as we discussed in that one, one of the Batman ones, about how that is one of the elements of power metal, apparently, is that it, the narrative structure is more common. Okay, camera's tilting that way. I'm going to go this way. We're doing better. So camera there. Meeting room. I want to stay away from there. I'm not in the mood for a meeting. Burn in hell, Seraph. Well, that's rude. It's a little extreme, don't you think? Oh, hacking again. Anyways, so I just discovered them recently, and the album... Oh, it was another album I was going to recommend, and I can't remember the name of it.
We'll put it in the description.
Maybe I will, because it's worth... I'm thinking of... Because the problem is, I think it's not like one of those albums where one of the names of where the name of the album is one of the songs.
Yeah.
It's like it's a separate thing. So now I can't remember. I have to go... So this is worth noting is that these double line ones are, you can go either direction. But these ones, like if I went to this one first and then to this one, I couldn't get up to this because this is a one-way.
Huh.
So you got to look at it carefully before you do it. So anyways, I think this is probably one of the best hacking minigames that has been, simply because it makes the most sense. I'm probably going to need to start doing my fortify option on some of these because this is a longer trip. But yeah, I wish I could remember it because it's an album worth listening to. But I like them a lot because the dude, the main singer guy, has like some crazy freaking vocals. Like I don't even know how he produces most of the noises he makes. Because it's almost, it harkens back to like the 80s era hair metal, where it's just like he can be incredibly loud and incredibly open and visible. Wow. Okay.
Down here, I am completely exposed.
I guess, they're both facing the other way. I thought they were looking at me. I was like, okay, I'm dead. It looks like there's only 2 in here. Is that right? That seems too easy. Well, better late than never. Oh, crap! I missed! He was 3 feet! Oh, crap, and here they all come out of the woodwork. Oh, come on. That was pathetic. What? You don't gotta go shooting up boxes like that, man. I suppose I should have a better gun. I am now in a firefight.
The minute you popped out, all 3 of them decided you
had something to say about that. So yeah, it's worth checking out. The dude's pretty crazy to listen to, and I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up because... And then, they were the original one. It was just this week, in fact, that I was heard... I was going to say recommended, but it wasn't personal. I heard someone mention them, which I don't think qualifies as a recommendation.
More of a...
Yeah, I don't know.
What
Grapevine approach.
Inspired?
Maybe, yeah. But they're a band called Orphaned Land.
Huh.
And the reason they're interesting is that they are, I believe, an Israeli band.
Wow.
And they have a weirdly... I mean, it's a fascinating influence of... It has a very sort of Middle Eastern sound. Like the way... Because obviously the Middle Eastern music theory is very different. They have a lot... their theories of harmony and of scale are all different. And so they have, it's this, you're doing the same thing I did. There, wow, I'm surprised. Just walk right in. So they're unique in that respect, but they're still like metal, and they have the same like heavy rhythms and things.
I'm not trying to do that.
Well, you could let go. You'd have to.
But see,
you hold to be in cover. You let go to be out of cover.
No, I'm trying to follow the prompts.
Well, but you don't have to follow the prompts. The prompts are just recommendations of how you would do it if you wanted to.
Right, and I was trying to move over to the next box.
Well, press versus hold, so you clearly weren't following them that closely. Just walk and let me just creep along the box they could see. But anyways, it's worth checking out just because that's a unique.
Might not be able to change guns.
If you're interested, it's why
I did.
You hold it and then you use the trigger or the.
I also did that, and I can't. So maybe.
No, not the D-pad, the thumbs.
Oh, I didn't realize it was the thumbs.
So if you're at all interested in sort of the different perspectives of music theory and the way, it's the sort of Western view of metal in the heavy rhythms and distortions and all that, but it's still coming through a very different school of music theory. It's very fascinating. The specific album I found was, I think the most recent one was in 2018, which is a while ago now, called something I will also link in the comments. But yeah, worth checking out. Random. Wow.
You say wow, but you did not dive that.
I was gonna peruse for another topic, but I then didn't have the chance. Now it's your turn. Provide.
I recently, actually, I thought we could maybe talk about some
recently
current.
Passed a golf.
No, thought we could talk about some current events in that.
Oh boy, boy.
In that, I thought it was interesting. No matter which side of the argument you fall on, although I'm not gonna mince words about where I stand about this whole conflict with Russia and Ukraine. That there's actually this bit of a mythological figure that's appeared called the Ghost of Kiev. Have you seen this?
I've not heard anything about this.
Oh, okay. Well, it's this fighter pilot, apparently, that's taken out, like, quite a few Russian fighters, and his, like, no one knows anything about him, and he's not...
Well, he's not, you mean to tell me he's not a part of the military?
Well, I'm sure he is, but I'm saying, like, they're not releasing anything about him. It's, like...
Given the circumstances.
It's created this kind of mystique that I think is very much helpful to kind of feed fodder and propaganda a bit.
Oh, he should have died from that.
It reminds me of a bit like a real life Captain America, if I could say it that way, where it's like
Kiev.
Captain Kiev.
Well, hey, so get some fan art going.
So they're calling it the Ghost of Kiev, and
morale.
And then the former president of the Ukraine actually confirmed that he is a real guy and that he
former president. What about the current president? What does he have to say?
He hasn't really said much. He's been a little.
Okay, that was in the head. Are these guys cyborgs like me?
I mean, he's encouraged, obviously, Russian
I am hitting him in the bonds.
To prevent...
Every one of those was a bont shot.
To prevent, to kind of push back against their government, but he hasn't really done much. Outside of just saying, hey, we're going to defend ourselves. So I'm sure he's done a lot in that he's mobilized it.
What else is new in the world? I suppose. Well, all of us at this point in the way modern history is unfolding are just like, this might as well happen. Just gonna steal a John Mulaney line.
It was an interesting story though, in that I mean a lot of it up to this point for me in what I've been looking at had been very much like, Ukraine is trying to handle it as best they can, and they're kind of hunkering down. All of a sudden, you hear all these like reports about the Ghost of Kiev. That's like, this fighter pilot's taking out all these Russian fighters, and it's significant. Well, it's like 7. I mean, that's like, okay.
Since when?
It's been recently. I'm just saying one guy.
Well, I guess it has been. I mean, it's only, what's today? The 27th? It's only been like 4 days that this has been going on.
So that's a pretty big number for just saying.
Well, what was interesting, and this may in fact allow us to segue. Oh, well, hang on.
Away from that topic.
I have to shoot him in the head. No, it's related, but I mean, there you go. it was a sort of humorous. I mean, not humorous because of course the whole thing isn't humorous, but I had recently discovered a podcast, which is, I mean, it's not exactly a news podcast, but they talk about current events frequently. And so they were talking initially about how a lot of Western media things were kind of over exaggerating what was going on over there. Which, to be fair, they were for the time. Because everyone was like, it's going to be World War III, Putin's going to nuke everyone. And it's like, okay, you're making all this up for... And it was. And
You're spinning out of control.
Yeah, and so the podcast was very much trying to be like, no, here's what we know, here's the information we have.
Right.
We need to stop, catastrophizing this. And then it was only like a day or two after I saw that. Oh, there you go. This is relevant. This is what I was talking about, and where you can sometimes find people who've got some documents. So this guy had a Palm Pilot because he was cool like that. Well, his name was Ezekiel. That is a pretty cool name.
For those of you in the generations that have no clue what that is.
There you go. See? New shipment in, need anything before or after the heist. Abandoned gas station on 2nd Street.
There were things before phones
That's
that actually held people's schedules and plans.
Well, were they? I mean, they were before phones, but they were sort of
They
the
were
proto...
significantly before phones.
Not significantly.
You have the Palm Pilot, and then you have the BlackBerry, and then smartphones.
No, but the BlackBerry and the smartphone were sort of separate. Like, the BlackBerries were still around once people had smartphones.
Yeah, but their days were numbered even then.
Well, maybe. So yeah, we found apparently there's a guy who got some weapon shipment in, and now we know where it is. So if we want to go pick up some free guns, because that's not unethical.
Is that within the game, or are you talking about right now?
I could go. Of course, with that you.
I got excited there for a
Wow,
second.
free guns, hey. I don't know if I want to go through there yet. I want to see if I can find anything else. But it was
Talking about the Ghost of Kiev. Hey,
That
apparently
happened.
we got this guy. He knows some things.
So the way that happened was a little bit weird. I was like, oh yeah, I think people are overblowing it. And it's like, oh no, it's happening. So yeah, a bit of a, you just going, it is a little bit just like, okay, well, are we surprised? Not thoroughly. I mean, the state of the world kind of just goes, yeah, all right, well, what else is new?
Yeah.
Which is a terrible, I guess, point to be in. It's not, you don't want to be jaded like that, but, and again, it does.
Jaded, I suppose.
I forget who I'm
it.
about to quote. I'm about to quote someone.
So prepare yourself.
But
buckle up.
I believe it was actually Oppenheimer who said this.
Huh.
Basically, I believe the quote, I'm going to attempt to recall it. It could be paraphrasing. Says, it's plainly obvious the world is going to hell. The only chance it might not is if we stop trying to prevent it. Because the problem we have is every time we try to say, well, we have to respond to this, and that almost always makes it worse.
Well, that's the whole Chinese proverb, like, one often meets their destiny on the road to avoid it.
Which is almost why I would say we'd be probably best to stay out of this, as much as some people might find that heartless. You just go, I think it would only get worse if we got involved.
Yeah.
But then again, we are neither political commentators nor people of any authority. So
no, I wasn't
who's listening to
specifically
us?
saying let's unpack that on a academic level. I was just suggesting
Nothing even in
my
here.
thoughts on like political like propaganda almost, like, to me, the reason I brought up specifically the Ghost of Kiev is because I feel like there's such...
It's not exactly propaganda, though. That's natural, at which point it just becomes
natural.
morale.
Yeah, but I feel like there's such significant power in that, in kind of the sentiment of, and really what that
morale
does
is a very significant force.
well, which comes down to, again, narrative and story. Like, there's the reason I think that art in that regard has stayed around and
I think there's numerous reasons for that.
right, but I'm just saying, like, we've talked about even within, like, nuclear fallout or something like that, like, why is it that art would eventually
It would
resurface?
have to come back because it's a natural
because
human
it's
behavior.
not only just a natural human expression, but it also gives humans the very need of kind of some of our psychological needs.
Well, of course.
like,
Haven't you seen Dead Poet Society?
right. I mean, that's my
Clearly
sentiment.
you have, because you knew what I was going for.
My sentiment is that is
were
the
they
very
telling me?
nature of us living
Okay.
in the first place.
They were reminding me that I had these abilities because I thought maybe I had some points to spend, but I don't.
Ooh.
Social enhancer. I could use one of those.
so that you can really talk to people while you're blasting their brains out.
Well, it's not always blasting brains I'm going to do, hopefully.
Hey, woman, I'm better at communicating to you now. Shut up!
Well, hey, you're the one who clearly needs the social enhancement. Okay!
I think maybe some...
Advanced hacking!
I think maybe some anger management classes would
How do I-
serve me better.
Include turrets, cameras, and robots. Oh, right. So I knew about this.
All you need
So
to do
generally
is find
speaking, when
security
there's cameras and sometimes turrets around, I mean, as I've already been shot by them. I guess that didn't alert anybody, though, somehow. I was just shot by the turrets went off for a couple seconds and no one's concerned. But that probably means there's a security office somewhere that has a computer which controls them, which I will hopefully find, because I don't want to get shot again. Ooh, perhaps it's behind here. Did I have a point? I got shot, so now I can't remember. You know what I was about to say?
Well, you were talking about...
Was I saying anything?
About propaganda on a broader level, or not propaganda, but just the fact that art again compels us to
Yeah, Dead Poet Society.
yeah, that's what you were referencing.
Did I have anything else to say though?
No, I mean, not
can't
specifically. I was just kind of running with that, and the idea that the reason I brought it up is because I think it's remarkable that something like a story like that can be latched onto in such a crisis, because while seemingly insignificant that 7 planes were brought down and that it was a single guy, it's still...
Well, it gives
Gives
people a
us-
sense of like, oh, maybe it's not hopeless.
What it reminds me of is the quote from Samwise Gamgee in the actual
The one I'm thinking of.
yeah, the one where he talks about like those are the stories to
You're telepathic now, are you?
well, I
It was the fact that you said it without even the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, like you just had such confidence.
but I mean the idea that you know that those are the stories to hold on to are the ones that
What?
matter because they
Oh!
okay.
Oh, I remember this now, but I didn't remember it happening this way. That was weird.
Step away from the console. Now.
The stories that mattered were the ones that had some degree of hope in them and the reason why you're fighting in the first place. Oh, okay.
Help me.
So that was... I forgot that was how that happened, but I remember that happened. So basically, we missed some of the discussion. If we had stuck around and listened to some of the guards talk, they would have mentioned that there was the hacker, who was the one who had helped us infiltrate this place, who turned out to be an augmented person, which certainly seems strange, doesn't it, when you're talking about a hippie group who doesn't like augmentation. I feel like this was a little bit easy.
Yeah. But you were right about their
I felt like this mission lasted longer.
Was way farther into the game.
Maybe we didn't. No, it's not. I just felt like there was more to do with it, but maybe I didn't. Maybe we didn't explore as much as I probably did the first time.
Well, that and I feel like when
Probably
you're
my
first
fault.
playing a game, there's far more intrigue to okay, well this is new, so it's novel. Whereas if you are familiar with what's about to happen, you're like anyway.
So yeah,
So I
It's
thought
a-
I'd just bring that up because I thought it was an interesting kind
what's
of
this
current
guy?
events
Yeah, who did such a-
situation.
well, I mean, it's certainly current, and it's certainly an event. And, you know, you never really quite know what to make of it, really.
Well, that's true too.
But on a different topic, to perhaps lighten the mood again, the podcast, I figure we might benefit from a revisit to that discussion.
To podcasts in general?
Well,
or-
because we discussed them a little while back, and we agreed that we both are in favor but don't listen to many.
Yeah.
I have gotten more into them, and I think even this is exactly what I said last time, that I was getting more into them, but I'm even more heavily into them now because I could recommend several. So the one that was related to what I originally said, is this still on? Is it still going to hurt me? Are the oh, can I hack them directly? Too heavy. Okay. Wait, that means in the future I could move turrets? I don't think I ever knew I could do that later on. I would have to upgrade my arm beef.
Just walk around with the turret in your hand.
I think that's still active, so I can't walk past it. I thought I could maybe access the security from in that room, but not to be. But the sort of not always news, but usually culture, I guess, is more accurate. What they talk about most of the time is it's called the podcast of the Lotus Eaters.
Huh.
Which I figured you'd appreciate that name because I appreciated it too. Box is suspicious of the... okay. I thought maybe... I seem to have a recollection that if you had a box in front of you, it wouldn't shoot because it would have just viewed it as a piece of the environment. Here's the security room probably. D. Dutchman. No code found, so I'm going to have to hack it. Question is, can I hack it? Oh, there you go. This is another unique thing that sometimes you can give yourself more time by finding some of these nodes and things. Again, the hacking minigame is pretty good in this.
I'm enjoying the actual, at least familiarity with the fact that they're using kind of IP routing and that whole concept.
I'm going to see what both of these do just for the fun of it. -2 to ratings. Whoa, I forgot I could look around. That's not helpful. I don't need to look around. So that one's useful. They talk about a lot of cultured stuff. The name is, of course, somewhat apt because of the connotation of the lotus being significant. Why is this not...
you're getting traced.
Why was it... Is it... you mean to tell me that whole time it wasn't being captured? I thought it was. Yay! Well, we did it anyways. Which now means I should be able... Oh, access restricted. I probably have to level up my hacking ability. That's dumb. Also, that was all useless. The lotus, of course, being a significant symbol in Eastern philosophies, often representing... Not exact... I mean, would truth be too broad? I mean, it's not exactly that. More like enlightenment, I suppose.
Yeah, I think
it's... But again, it's obviously what they were trying to, get at with the name.
I would say truth in a more... maybe actualized way versus just knowledge.
As opposed to pure theory.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's interesting because in fact, I don't know if he was the guy who founded it, or if maybe if he was a partnership, but one of the guys who is there, and he's part of the co-leadership, is Sargon of Akkad, the old YouTube channel, which evidently this is now what he does.
The name sounds familiar. I don't know if I'm familiar with the actual...
Of him or
channel?
Yeah, Sargon was just the name of his channel originally.
I'm saying
that's obviously not his name.
What was the channel even regarding? I mean, I'm
he kind of did similar stuff to what the new channel is doing, except I think there's a door over there. He basically, except it was obviously just him, and so it was sort of more of an interview thing where he would just chat with random people about topics, whereas now it's almost like an independent news show. I've heard them compared to basically like the British version of the Daily Wire.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are British. But it's just interesting. They have a unique perspective on stuff, and I've appreciated it.
Do you find that, like, in some of their comments about the things that have been going on within kind of our neck of the woods and within even directly compared to the Daily Wire, is there similarities in their perspectives, or is
they're fairly conservative, although not... obviously, I think they are largely a more secular group.
Huh.
I don't know what all of their religious affiliations are, but I know that the main guy, I know that Sargon is not a religious person, or I guess his real name is Carl, which is what he goes by now, which is kind of weird to hear him called that.
Carl.
Okay. Things are going south down there. Carry on. I'm not going to get involved. I suppose I couldn't, but that's dramatic. So I don't know what the rest of them, they've never outright stated. I think they're deliberately, even if any of them had certain views, they probably would keep them quiet just because it's not relevant. They want, probably even for the sake of their, I'm not sure what you'd call it.
Their platform.
Well, probably for the sake of not muddying the issue.
Right.
Like
objective.
So just saying that they don't bring it up because even if they did hold those beliefs, unless it was directly relevant, which generally speaking, the stuff that they're referring to doesn't have much of a religious bend so it doesn't come up?
Yes, I would agree that.
So that guy's leaving. Is this guy staying around?
I have mixed feelings about that. I'm a bit.
Where's he going?
I don't know.
He went down the hall, I think. So I should be fine. Meeting room. Is anybody in the meeting room? So clearly I was wrong. The mission is not done. So I was right to think that was too soon for it to be over, because it's not over. What are you saying?
Well, I think that the notion that that we need to be objective is fair, and I think especially when you're presenting information you want to be objective, but there is a point in which, especially in a cultural context nowadays, we have to recognize that morality cannot be present. Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, I was about to say Sam Harris would disagree, but
I disagree with a majority of the psychological research that would call moral.
Is he gonna move?
Moral. What am I going to call it?
It's gonna move right now.
Moral discrepancy or moral failing as deviance, and they basically chalk it up to nothing more than societal disagreement or uncommonality with the cultural norm. And I go, well, but it's got to be more than that, because if we're basing it solely off of that, then as we continue to develop as societies, things like,
Come on, why am I dropping
the objectivity of,
Did he glitch?
Of Russia and Ukraine and that whole,
go.
situation can become so much so that you go, well, there really isn't a right or a wrong. It's just a matter of...
Sure.
And I go...
But that's based on the belief that morality stems from religion, which
Well,
is
it's not even religion. I just am saying there has to be some sort of core moral compass.
But there are many people would argue you can have that without a religious.
But what would you chalk it up to? Because
that is the ultimate question.
Sociologists would say
I'm not sure I'm in that category.
And I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with that if that's your argument. Okay, but my first question to you then would be, what is it that you base your morality on? Because sociologists would say that it's based on societal norm, and I'm like, that doesn't work because that shifts.
Yeah.
So you can't base it off
alarmed?
of. There's a bit of a communistic perspective to that, and that's a little strong. But I mean,
a little bit.
You can't make it like a hive mentality where if everybody else is doing it, then in fact there was a quote that literally said, if it's right whether or not anybody else is doing it, and it's wrong whether or not everyone else is. It's like there's a point in which society's perspective on a particular issue is really irrelevant, but based on your own conviction.
Yeah. That is an uncomfortable place for a vent. Who's alarmed? No one's standing
The urinal.
I mean, if someone was standing here, they could have reason to be alarmed, but... Oh, maybe they found the body I left. Why are there lips on screen?
That's for practicing.
In the men's bathroom. What kind of lonely men... Whoa, what kind of really tall men? Hand dryer? Whose hands are that high? I mean, mine are, but I'm holding a gun. Is that specific?
What does that have to do with anything?
I mean, normally most people...
I'm holding a gun. That makes me stand 10 feet higher.
Most people don't walk around with their hands out directly in front of them.
Anyway, I'm just saying that...
I think that's...
I'm a little...
Yeah, I mean, I have just... There's sometimes... The places in which I do disagree with them on the podcast are generally... Oh, well, they don't discriminate. The women have the lips, too. I'm assuming this is the women's restroom, if only because it's the opposite to the men. Yeah, and there's no urinals. That's women. That's a good reminder. If you ever walk into a bathroom and there's no urinals, you're in the wrong one. I mean, if you're a man. I suppose if you're a woman, you're probably in the right
You're in the wrong one.
Yeah, the area in which I often disagree with them tends to be on such matters, because they obviously have a conservative view of the world, but they don't ascribe it to any religious I mean, they're not antagonistic towards religious belief, which a lot of times agnostic or atheistic people are.
Right.
So I can appreciate that. So it's sort of a, agree to disagree thing.
Yeah.
But that is, I don't know that they answer that question to my satisfaction, but then again, that's going to happen, isn't it? But yeah, that's one that's interesting. Another one, oh crap. Crappity crap. Well, okay, you gotta go. Ah! Darn it. Darny. Okay, I might have screwed up. Another one that's really been interesting is not exactly in that realm. It's not a news type. Oh boy, am I outnumbered. I might need some assistance.
With topic?
No,
I was like, well, I'm not gonna be able to help you much.
I'm having to change to my heavy duty gun. Okay, I hit him in the head. Blood came out.
Yeah, but he's wearing a cloth on his head, don't you know?
That was one tactical balaclava. The other one is the guy's name is Chris Williamson, and I came across him in the usual way I come across podcasts, which is Jordan Peterson was on once, and so I just happened to see it because it was recommended that, and then I found their conversation was interesting, and I felt like the guy was he asked poignant questions and things. So then I watched that. Also, this is what first got me into the Lotus Eaters thing, is Carl, or Sargon as I used to know him, was also on an episode he did. And they called him, it was something like he was an episode with Carl Benjamin. I was like, who's that? And then I saw the thumbnail. I was like, oh, that's that guy. So I watched that, and that was when they mentioned that he had the new podcast going, and that was how I got into that. But I think he's also really interesting because he's sort of in the same vein, it's very similar to what Jordan Peterson does on his show, which is basically he'll have a person on and discuss whatever it is that they do. Whether they be, it's like, oh, this person's written a book about this, so they talk about that subject. How did you hit him in the head and have him not? What was that? I swear some of these people are augmented just like you. Except they've got titanium.
Okay.
What?
I was behind cover the whole time. I'm taking another turn.
Pity.
That was ridiculous.
Well, that's interesting. So I like both of those. If you need podcast recommendations, in addition to any other ones we previously said, those are new ones for me. I'm trying to think if there's any others I consistently watch now. Those two are the ones I watch more frequently. I don't know that there's anyone else that I do. I mean, there's some people that I'll be on the lookout for, like if they're like Jordan Peterson, where it's like, oh, he's been on this person's podcast. So sometimes I follow more people than channels. Anyways,
And when you say podcast, typically you're talking about on YouTube. Correct?
I guess. That's where some of these probably are on other sources. I haven't checked because I haven't needed to.
Because I suppose my jump initially would be to some sort of podcast service such as...
Yeah, I used to use the Apple back when I had... Oh! New topic even. Perfect. We're just segueing like hipsters in the 90s. Back when I used to have an Apple product, hint, hint, I used just the Apple Podcast app because it made sense. Oh! That was...
Is that a latency issue, or is
no,
that just...
I think that was just perhaps, maybe that wasn't... Oh, now there's a backup. Maybe that just wasn't a matter of the aim being slightly off. I think you skimmed his nose. Okay, well, they came up now. I am taking that because you got 5 people on you at that time.
He needed some rhinoplasty anyway.
I'm not sure what you'd call that. Rhinectomy?
It's rhinoplasty. That's
no,
what it's called.
rhinoplasty is when you add stuff. An ectomy is when it's removed. Rhinectomy.
Are you sure?
Well, because that's like a
oscopy, I suppose is what I was thinking.
Tonsillectomy. Well, yeah, rhinoscopy would be
rhinoscopy.
That would be a very different procedure. Hold him down, stick a camera up his nose. The other dude's so shocked he doesn't even shoot you. He's like, "What on earth, man?
What is wrong with you?"
But there's a topic for you. I don't have an Apple product anymore.
And I'm about to not.
Ask me why. Don't ask me why.
Instead,
don't ask me why. Ask me what I have.
Well, that is actually a curiosity question because you and I are I'm about to make the switch because my Apple product just recently decided to take a bite at.
Well, actually, your Apple
death.
product took a bite a while ago, but it was taking a bite out of you. Boom! See, you just have a problem aiming.
But the other question is we decided to go different routes as far as the phones that we did end up getting. So
similar, different routes to the same
motivation,
place.
But I was gonna get there.
That dude deserved that, man. He's the new protagonist. He did. He literally. I popped my head out for 1 second and he clocked me clean. So I said, in fact, a while back. I'm turning Italian. I said a while back. I said.
Was that a fortnight ago?
Was it?
I'm joking.
What does that have to do with being Italian?
It's a new way of saying a while back. A fortnight is 2 weeks. Yes, I thought.
But
I'm saying it's a new way of saying
that's
fortnight.
The Italian way of saying fortnight. That was stupid. A while back, I said at least that I was planning on buying a flip phone, and I have done it, and it was a great decision. We mentioned the Jose Briones channel. He's a guy who does dumb phone reviews, which is what I use to scan.
He actually now has a website that is.
He had it then. I used it. I think we even mentioned it.
Because it was actually fantastic.
Yeah, it's very useful. I spent a good long while really considering. And I ended up going with, I suppose some people might question that it's a dumb phone, because it isn't exactly. You would call, he even on his website doesn't refer to it as a dumb phone. I think he calls it a feature phone, which is basically, it's still a flip phone, but it runs, I think it's basically a low-tech version of Android something.
Yeah, it is. It's an Android.
Yeah, so it's still an Android product, but... So
I shot you in the neck,
yeah,
pal.
they seem pretty... Ooh, then he returned the favor. I'm caught up. Cord's caught. What in the world? Get it out of there! That was weird. Cord's mated. So it's not exactly a dumb phone, but it is still nonetheless a flip phone that has the basics of what I want, which is it still has maps, which is good. It has phone calls and text, which is obvious.
Well, and there's some people
and it
that
technically has a browser. You can get Chrome on it, but it's still like a flip phone screen. So it's very much like I wouldn't use it unless I needed an answer for something.
It limits it by organic user interface more than it does by
arguably I could probably even get social media stuff on it, but it's I'm not going to want to. I wouldn't because I don't want that stuff anyways. But the temptation wouldn't even be there because the screen is so weird that I wouldn't. You wouldn't just sit there on it forever because you'd probably go blind.
We may actually delve into the social media trap
we
later,
did that.
A different episode.
It's enough soap for one episode.
Yeah, exactly. But
I did it, and you're gonna do it. What are you gonna do?
I am actually going to do the light phone, and the reason being, it's the second one, as the light phone 2. It's the second iteration. And the reason being that it still has maps, and I've actually one of the things that that the channel that was previously mentioned, the
Jose,
is that
up the bum. I should just do that. I have he's wearing. What is that, dude? What are you, a football player from 1920?
Is that the maps actually works really well, and I actually really enjoy. I own a Kindle Paperwhite, and I really enjoy the e-ink on that. And
it's not my thing.
Light Phone 2 is an e-ink
I
display.
should probably not leave
So
him here. 'Cause
that
I'm
in
sure-
itself was kind of a draw for me. It still looks very like, hey, I'm not behind on technology, but I'm making a conscious choice to move away from stupidity. And that, again, is what we're going to unpack maybe in the next episode, because the bottom line is not all technology is healthy technology.
Well, yeah, not all of it does what it claims. Certainly
There
said
is a
that.
point in which ease and what would you call it?
Abdication is what I'd call it, but that's probably not the question you're asking.
There's a word I'm looking for. It's called accessibility. There's a point where accessibility becomes just laziness.
Well, sure. But yes, I did it already, and I genuinely, it was like within a day, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm used to this. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Now, I had already mentioned in the previous video when we discussed this, I mentioned that I was gonna get a tablet, which I did shortly after that video. So I had it before I got the new phone, which sort of, maybe that was why the transition was easier, because I still had something that was sort of, to me, the tablet takes the place of both my old computer and the phone.
Yeah.
So I would probably still argue that I use the tablet less on the whole than I used my phone and computer. I probably use it. Dang it. I would probably use it more than I used my phone previously, but I don't think I use it more than I use both. So it's sort of a reduction. It's a net reduction.
Right.
So that may have made the transition easier. But even that, I mean, I still am fairly conscious about trying not to just be on it all the time.
Well, but again, that it puts the power back in the hands of the user.
Okay, so the dude was alarmed because
it
he saw a man
demands-
that didn't belong here, but he wasn't alarmed enough to follow him.
It demands that you actually consciously take out the device, actually prepare to sit down and do it.
And it's not like
And-
I couldn't have it in my pocket.
Right, exactly.
I would have to. I keep it in my bag, which means if I wanted to get it out, I would have to actually get it out.
Well, and notice the progression of technology has moved even from now I'm having it in my pocket to now it's on my wrist. I mean, and then
I
pretty
never have
soon,
been one of those people.
Now, granted, something like the Google Glass. The Google.
I know what you were about to say, and it would have been funny if you had flubbed that.
Something as
That never
as
did
much
really
as that
catch
didn't
on,
take off,
though.
and I was about to say that, but that is still the movement.
Do you
of
think
technology.
that was a matter of time? Like it was just
I
it
think
came
it
out
was
too
before
early?
its time. Yeah, I think it was before its
Well,
time.
because no one's tried since. Arguably, it's more possible now, and yet they still haven't done it.
Because I don't know that we're there yet. People
I
aren't
think we
willing
are.
to integrate. Well, but
Oh, you're
is the-
thinking societally, not technologically.
Yes, I think not enough people have really bought onto the whole even Apple Watch situation. Much less.
Well, I guess we'll have to see who sees. Who sees? I was having to see, not you. Get out of here.
because I mean, even.
Kneecap.
But they're making it such an integration of almost like a part of your personhood.
I feel
you're
like
going,
I need
this-
a door is what I feel like. Goodness me.
Well, and this is again a topic we can get into later in a different episode.
Say my name.
But
Not you, this guy.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
I'll be your Huckleberry? I think it's I am your Huckleberry, isn't it?
I don't know what it is. I can't remember.
Ooh, okay.
I don't think it was that.
I don't think that. I didn't expect that to work. I was expecting to go out in a blaze.
So,
Well, because I think there's a. Oop, I can jump while crouched.
well, it's the whole augmented reality thing.
Well, yeah,
that's
it's like
we're
what
getting
if
into.
after Facebook does whatever the heck they're doing, maybe then people will be more up for it. Oh, he's cuddling his butt.
Speaking of that,
He's cuddling his butt, and it looks funny.
speaking of that, are you interested in divulging the new?
We already had that shirt. I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think the shirt we had mentioned that we then forgot was the one I've already shared.
Are you sure?
I came up with the idea independently twice. That's how good of an idea it is.
Are you sure? I don't think it was.
I think it might have been.
Well,
Well, I don't.
it was
shouldn't
news to me.
Well, maybe I don't know.
But
Should we? I guess we could end on that, couldn't we? Are we at a point? Are we at the end point?
well,
might
we're
be.
beyond the end point.
Well, no, we were. Well, we did a double, and we're gonna split it. Well, I guess fine. We'll say that I'll save here because I guess we've made some progress.
We're not going to fully unpack augmented reality yet.
No, because it deserves a rant, and there's enough soap already. It's all over my hands. But all I will say is I want to make a shirt, and I mean, I'm not sure you could market it except to people who already agree with you, which is the definition of not marketing.
Well, kind of. I mean, that's the whole Let's Go branded marketing that's all over the place now.
That wasn't marketing, though. That was sort of, that happened somewhat
it's opportunist.
organically.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm just...
But all I will say is, if you see someone around with the shirt that says the following, you'll know it's me. And this is my statement to all of whatever the Facebook's doing, is just zuck that.